Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Schmidt's Samber Ranch. I'm going to tell you the story of one morning in Wyoming from the fireside. And I would have a fire in here, but we're having really nice weather out. It was 75 degrees out today. So put the fire on the TV. But this is my best pronghorn shot in Wyoming. My high school buddy and I used to go to Wyoming every year. It's gotten harder to draw out up there. And I'm going to tell you the story just like we're sitting by the fireside. So it's you and I talking. We used to go, we went 3 or 4 years in a row. Used to be, you could draw out pretty easily. It's gotten a lot harder now. And we do have some points saved up, so we'll be going back at some point. But this was our first morning in Wyoming some years ago. So pronghorn season, and we're hunting public, and pronghorn season starts October 1st. So this would have been October 1st, probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, probably already. But the morning I shot this pronghorn, we had gone up 2 days before season, and we had scouted around. And we're hunting by Newcastle, and north of Newcastle and west, we had found a place with some pronghorns on it that was public that we could get into. So opening morning, we drove to that spot. And if you've ever hunted Wyoming public land, you probably know what happened next. When we got to that spot, there were people there already. And so right across the road from that spot was another place. We hadn't really looked at it. But since there's people in our spot, we just went across the road and pulled in. And it wasn't daylight yet. It was still dark. And we pulled in off the road, and there was kind of like a lease road you pulled in, and then there was a flat spot, and then it fell away down into a valley, and then the road continued on up to like a ridge line up here. And while we were sitting there waiting for daylight, we were just going to stay in the pickup and glass once we got to where we could see. While we were sitting there, another vehicle came in and went past us and went up on that ridge line. And so it got to be where we could start to see, and we had our binoculars, and we looked, and right off, down probably, I don't know, 700 or 800 yards out in front of us was a group antelope. So we got our packs and my shooting sticks. I just shot with shooting sticks. Now my hunting buddy, he has a bipod that goes on his rifle, but I just have shooting sticks. So we started in after these antelope, and about that same time, the guy up on the ridge started, he had seen them too, and he was coming down off that ridge as we were coming from the south to the north. He was coming from the west to the east, and there was where it dropped off. We got down in the bottom kinda, and there was like, I remember a pond dam, and we were trying to keep that pond dam between us and these pronghorns. And we couldn't see them from where we were because this pond dam kind of went around this way, and this guy up here actually worked to our benefit in this scenario, because he pushed the pronghorns to the east, and they came out from behind that pond dam and were about probably 200 yards out in front of us, and they were lined out. This one was in the back, and I put my shooting sticks up and got my rifle on him, and I shot. And my hunting buddy was looking at him through the binoculars, and he said, "You missed." And I was like, "I missed?" And the pronghorn started running, and he said, "Oh, wait, he's down." So I hadn't missed, and he was down. So probably 15 minutes into my prong hunting career, I had this pronghorn shot and dead. So, and the difference, you know, we're not hunting trophy pronghorn, or I don't even know what a trophy pronghorn is, you know. To me, this is a nice one. You know, I think they look for these white tips and prongs above the ear and all that stuff. And the difference between a trophy pronghorn and a nice pronghorn is about that much. So we had him down, and we quartered him out and got him in the pack and headed back to the pickup. And in addition to a pronghorn tag, I also had in my pocket a mule deer tag. So after we got him in the pickup, we left that spot, and we were going to go. In Wyoming, kind of what you do is you drive the roads and you drive by public hunting and you glass it, see if there's pronghorns. If there are, you park your pickup, head in, do a stalk on them, you know. And we were looking for a new spot, and we were going, I think we went west from this spot, and we were only probably 5 miles from where I shot him at. And we were, I drive, and my hunting buddy, he's the map guy and navigator and hunt coordinator, really. He puts it all together. All I do is show up and drive. But we're about 5 miles, the way I remember it, could be further, but it wasn't very far. And he said, we're coming up to a spot of public hunting on the left side of the road. And I don't remember if that was probably like the south side, the way I would remember it. And it was just like 40 acres or something of public hunting. And we come down off this hill, and then it come down into a bottom and started back up, and this 40 acres, it might have been 80, but not very big. And it was on the left-hand side of the road, and there was a kind of like a, I'd call it a creek bottom, although it was dry. And I looked, when we come down in that bottom, I looked to the left, and there was 5 mule deer bucks standing there. Right off the road, not very far, probably, look, 75 yards off the road. And they were on the public. I asked my buddy, I said, they're on public? Yep, you know. So, and we really messed this up. I wish we would have done it differently. But where we come into that bottom and started up that hill, there was a hill that wrapped around. So right away, we got out of the view of these bucks. And they were in that little creek bottom. And we come up that, started up that hill, and it wrapped around. So we got to where they couldn't see us. And so we got out and got our guns, and we were able to cross the fence on the back side of that hill and walk down along the side of that hill and come up over it. And I wish we would have thought a little more, because he had a pronghorn and mule deer tag too. And I wish we would have just looked up over and got a plan together. But when we looked up over, there they were at, you know, less than 100 yards. And my buddy was on the binoculars, and he said, the back one. So I lined up on the back one and shot, and this was him. So in my first morning in Wyoming with a pronghorn tag and a mule deer tag, by 10 o'clock, I had both my pronghorn and mule deer in the pickup done. And probably I was gonna say my best morning hunting, but I've had a lot of good mornings hunting. It's probably my most successful morning hunting. And just Wyoming, you can't beat Wyoming. Every fall, we didn't go this year, and I can't wait till we get to go back. It's just, Wyoming is a wonderful place to hunt big game. And we had them both in the pickup by 10 o'clock, I would say. And then Mark, my hunting buddy, he wound up shooting a pronghorn later that afternoon. And then him and we messed up on a stock on a mule deer, or he would have shot his mule deer that same morning or same day, and we would have been done. But we messed it up. We saw some mule deer out a ways, and we thought they were going to come to us. They didn't. They wound up staying out there. But that's learning curve on hunting mule deer. He later shot one 3 days later. So we both tagged out and just fell in love with Wyoming, you know. Wonderful time. If you guys have stuck around this long, subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Have a blessed day, everybody.